Welcome to the Catalyst for Growth podcast, a place where we talk about everything under the sun regarding the journey of the professional salesperson. Welcome the host of the C4G Sales Success podcast, John Kailunas II. Take it away, big guy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to C4G's podcast, Sales Enrichment. You've got John Kailunas II here, and in the studio is Kevin Berwald.
Here I am.
Kevin, good to see you. We've had a couple episodes without you and missed you, buddy.
Well, I felt a little left out, just so you know.
Hey, anytime you want to fly to Tampa or you want to fly where I'm working, you're more than welcome. We'll share a cigar, a bourbon, a couple laughs.
Well, be careful. I'll be there every day.
Is that a threat or a promise?
It's a little both.
Hey, we're coming off a great session at a little while back, the CSA conference, the Senior Advisor Conference at the Wigwam in Arizona, where you and I had a breakout session.
Yeah. Scottsdale, 109 degrees every day.
Yeah, it's always great. You know the conference is saving some money when they book Arizona in August. So, but it was really interesting. Never been to a conference like that before. Sort of a different, more of a eclectic group of not only advisors, but support people for elderly.
Yeah, no kidding. I think the thing that still sticks with me is they seem to be a whole different breed of advisors, because they weren't just financial and insurance guys. They had elder advisors, attorneys,
nursing home, cognitive special. It was a sort of everything you could do possibly for a senior.
Yeah.
And it was really nice. And they treated us exceptionally well as speakers.
I'd say it's probably the best. I mean, I've been doing this since the 1980s. I know you have too. And it may be probably the best I've been treated at any given point at a conference.
Yeah, they treat us really well. We signed a lot of books, talked to a lot of people, and got a lot of follow-up for our coaching program.
Yeah, I think the nice thing about, you mentioned books, is we learned a lot about the CSA organization itself. But man, they were great to us in that they actually sold our books while we were there, did a book signing for us. That was pretty neat. We didn't expect any of that. So
no, they were very generous. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk to you, though. We're going to focus on something that I think is real important, and it came out of this conference.
Right.
We were talking to a group regarding our having a process and how processes can help you in your practice not only scale but to get more efficient and more effective. The more efficient you are, the more profitable you are. And we want you to be better than you were yesterday, and that's why we want you to come into the podcast and go into the coaching program. We want you to be better than you were yesterday, and it's all relative. We all start at different points. We're all going to end at different points. But if we can really focus on our professional and personal careers to just get a hair bit better every day, we're serving all the people we care about by doing that. So this sort of came up about this, and Kevin wrote this, and it's the 3 surprising obstacles that derail your marketing strategies and prevent your prospects from becoming clients, and what you can do about it. This is on our website. So it's www.catalyst, 4 growth. So it's all one word, and it's .org. So catalyst4growth.org. So remember that and make sure you're going to that. There's a lot of resources there. Even if you're not one of our paid subscribers, there's a lot of material you can get. Paid subscribers have everything open to them, and individual consulting from Kevin and I, we'll help you take care of the obstacles that are holding you back in developing your practice. So Kevin, let's talk about sort of the ethos of how this started, this new white paper that you wrote.
Yeah. John and I have been working on, we're very close to finishing up a book right now that's going to be called something like Mission Retirement.
Man, you said that was what I was going to close with today, and you took that?
Well, taking it a little early. You can close
Holy
up a little
moly.
deeper. But we were...
It's a premature announcement.
Well, it is a little but the bottom line is we've been talking about creating some book or document that would work with seniors and retirees that wasn't necessarily financially oriented, but really help them to be able to understand what they can do to have more meaning and purpose in retirement, and kind of aligning with the biggest fear of seniors, which is really loneliness. And so this CSA conference just kind of fit right in. It was interesting how the dominoes were coming together to get to this piece that I ended up writing a couple weeks ago that has really been very, very popular that we'll talk about right now. We'll make available to you on the website. But as we were talking and thinking about this book, I had in my mind some certain thoughts about how we would develop what we could find at the CSA conference. And I went to the first morning session. And as I'm sitting there watching this lady speak, she was a cancer survivor who had a really good story about being positive in life. And she mentioned something along the line. I think this is so interesting, why it's important to put yourself in environments where you have the opportunity to get positive influences and get ideas. I mean, a lot of what we do, what John and I have done for the last 30 years each, is we purposely put ourselves in places where we can get positive influences, learn things. And out of this whole hour or so conversation, opening conversation from the keynote, there was one comment she made somewhere in the middle, maybe even the beginning, I'd say somewhere in the beginning of the first half. She said, made a comment about the fact that the average human being has X number of thoughts every day, conscious thoughts. And she said, it might be, I don't know what it is. She mentioned some numbers. And she said, but the issue really is that people's thoughts lean negative. And then I began to think, well, I wonder how many thoughts they do have and what percentage are negative. So this came out of her presentation. I'll tell you what the answer is. It's also written in the article that according to the research that I did, and I don't know how 100% accurate it is, but it sure seemed to be consistent in the research. The average person, let's translate this to a salesperson's prospect. The average prospect that you're trying to get to in your marketing campaign has 60,000 conscious thoughts a day, of which, astonishingly, what I found out is that 75% of those thoughts are negative. So what that means is when you're using a marketing campaign of any sort or being introduced to a prospect, someone that doesn't know you, a referral or an introduction, or maybe you're just bumping into him at a social event, that person is generally putting up a wall in front of you that you have to get through in their mind of 45,000 negative thoughts a day. 95% are recurring. It's kind of like they're just sitting there thinking about these negative thoughts, memories, negative thoughts. And we're trying to break through, and with our story of ourselves and their, as it is, their limbic system, their fight or flight system in their brain is constantly protecting them by thinking negative, that they would take any steps or interact.
That's a huge point, Kevin, because we often wonder why prospects or people, when we've talked about how great we are, don't take a step towards us. And it's because they're not listening to how great we are. They're trying to find a way to get away from us because it's fight or flight.
Yeah.
They don't understand what we're trying to do because we haven't articulated it well. And that's where your professional biography and some of the other things we teach our people in these master classes, that's exactly what we do, is we help them get through that.
Yes.
And it was real interesting when she said all of that because it made a lot of sense to me. So let's repeat that again because it is very important. I don't want people stop on Spotify and trying to reverse it, because that is really important. And what we're doing is constructing a narrative that they want to hear that represents us. We're not misleading anybody, but we're going to create a narrative that's pleasing for them to hear, so there's not a fight or flight type of response.
That's exactly right. And I think the main thing is thinking about the fact that you have 45,000 negative thought walls to get through. And this is just the conscious thoughts.
Yeah.
We'll hit two other points in a second, which really make sense, that we're not aware of and we're not thinking about, that they're looking for the negatives to protect themselves because they don't know you. And it's what anyone would do when you meet someone the first time, based on your life experiences and your biases and what you've been through, that your brain actually thinks about just by sensing or seeing someone. They're looking for the negatives first. And
it's just like if you're looking for a suit, right? And you say, "Oh, I don't like black suits." You just go on. You somehow predisposed in your background. You don't like black suits. You're going to the Navy. You're going to the tan. You're going to the other colors. You just don't look at it. It's a split second. It's a microsecond that you just note, not for me, and you move on.
That's right.
And we want to try to get people to pause and to listen. And if they listen to what you're going to say, then we're assuming all of you have followed the master classes and the coaching sessions that you're going to be desirable to work with.
Yep. And it's interesting to think there are people who have all kinds of biases. It's almost interesting that if you put out too much information about yourself, I guess key point thought here is you're giving an opportunity with too much information that they're going to find something negative to stick with and pick on.
Well, as we've talked about in earlier podcasts, information is the easiest thing to get nowadays. It used to not be. With the internet, information is free. Anybody with a smartphone can access the Library of Congress, all of the internet, and get information. There's no value to information anymore. Being an independent financial service representative, when I started the firm, our knock was that we couldn't get research like the big guys. Now we get research all the time for free. I mean, we get we get all of the big ones in Wall Street, Goldman, we get all of their stuff, right? All that information's free. There's not a value to that anymore. It's how you apply the information, which gets back to when we talk about processes, how you need to have a process because information needs to be applied in the proper sequence for for a prospect or a client to value your services.
Yes.
Because information, go to Vanguard. They got a whole website full of great information. It's good stuff, but that's good for the do-it-yourselfer. The person that needs your help needs all of that information translated on how it affects them.
That's right. Yep. We want to say what they want to hear and what they want to consume first. Here's the second thing that we got from this. The further research then, as I moved, because the title of the article is 3 Surprising Obstacles That Derail Your Marketing Strategies, Prevent Your Prospects from Becoming Clients, and What to Do About It. So here's the second thing that's interesting that we found out through research. And that was, if it's not bad enough or hard enough for you to think that your clients have a wall of 45,000 negative thoughts while you're trying to market to them or they meet you, there's also something called adaptive unconsciousness. And this is, John kind of was just talking about this a second ago. But adaptive unconsciousness is, as John was alluding to, have you ever found yourself in a situation, think about this, where all of a sudden you're walking, you're in a room, you're somewhere, and you just all of a sudden feel uncomfortable?
It's your spidey sense.
Your spidey sense, yeah. And you just don't know why. A second example of adaptive unconsciousness is, let's say you could be in a car accident or a train wreck and everything, or train wreck, some type of problem occurs and everything goes into slow motion. And as everything goes into slow motion, you're forced to make quick corrective decisions. And you're moving. That's another example of the adaptive unconsciousness. It's interesting that Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, which I just absolutely love.
And Kevin, we always talk about books, and that book is on the website that you can go on what we read, what we wrote, and what we read. There's a section on our website, and people should go there because there's a lot of great stuff that over the years, there's some oldies but goodies that we've read. Blink is pretty old now, but it's so informative, and it's on those snap judgments and why we determine what we do, and people do that all the time. And if you're not conscious about this and positioning yourself, you're going to fail with prospects and clients on your likability, and people don't buy from people they don't like.
Yep. And you have to be conscious of this. I mean, if you don't know there's a problem, you can't do anything about it. But the point I was making about Malcolm Gladwell and Blink is that he illustrates the fact that adaptive unconsciousness forms conclusions in your subconscious that we're not even immediately conscious or aware of. So people's minds, your prospects' minds, are making decisions unconsciously that their conscious isn't even aware of it. And they look at your marketing. This is something to pay attention. This is one of those times I say, zoom into what I'm going to say here. They will take one look at your marketing program, your website, your picture, your office, all kinds of stuff. They're going to walk in and their unconsciousness is going to feel, in a lot of cases, something's just not right. And you have to be cognizant that those negative thoughts are occurring unconsciously along with your consciousness.
Excellent point, Kevin. And I hope everyone is listening and taking notes, or at least, you know what, just go to the website, www.catalyst4growth.org, and just download the white paper. So we're screaming in here to number 3, the power of first impressions.
Yeah. So here's the third part that came from the research while we were writing this article. And it came originally, I didn't catch on to it at first myself, but there's an article in the Business Insider, or from the Business Insider, that's titled 12 Things People Decode Within Seconds of Meeting You. And they make the comment that it takes only 3 seconds for someone to decide if they like you and would consider doing business with you. It's a I've started to coin it, and I call it the 3-second test. The reason that a lot of your clients and prospects don't come to you with your marketing campaigns or your websites, or when they meet you and they decide not to work with you, is you fail the 3-second test. And if you're not prepared up front and ready for that 3-second interaction in lots of ways, and it's comfortable and normal, then clients are going to pick up on that. And that's why they don't come to you.
I'll give you a great example that everyone has had in their life. You're on a trip, you're roadside, you pull off, you go to a diner, and the diner isn't clean, and you decide you don't want to eat there.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The first impression is like, well, if they're not cleaning up the dining area, the kitchen's got to be a mess. I'm good. I'll take a bottle of water and I'm going to head down the road.
Such a great example.
It's such first impressions like that.
Yep.
The way your office is tended, the way your personal appearance is, how you conduct yourself. You know, when you're doing a seminar, are you engaged with people? Are you looking them in the eyes? Are you shaking their hands? Are you holding the door open for ladies? Do you show some social grace? All of that etiquette and that social grace are little things that people acknowledge. I am, my son, he's got a bunch of great friends. There's a couple of them that don't hold doors open and don't do things. And when they're out with my family, I am all over them. Yep. That people just aren't taught that. So you need to teach your staff how to do that. You need to be conscious of it, because first impressions only happen once. And once they happen, it's written in stone. So don't be the owner of the diner that doesn't have a clean dining room.
Yeah, well, think about this. John and I are both million-plus milers on just Delta. And you think about hotels, Marriott, Hilton, whatever, literally have, 1 million points on some of those.
I've got right now, I think my wife is just teasing me because I got 2.5 million Delta points. Exactly. And it's like, she's like, well, I go, that just says I was on the road all the time. It doesn't say anything about my character. It just means that I was a loyal customer.
Yeah. But have you ever walked into I can think of multiple times I've walked into a hotel lobby, walked into the lobby and literally walked out.
I did it here in Grand Rapids.
Yep.
I did it here in Grand Rapids. I sold my property here. The business is located in Grand Rapids. I came up from Florida. I was going to stay a week. I walked in and I'm like, I need another hotel.
Yep.
Because if they didn't clean the lobby, I guarantee you the rooms aren't tended well.
Yep.
And I don't require a lot except for clean. That's all I need.
Yep. And that's just the conscious part of it. What's interesting is, as you circle what most people are thinking about situations we were just discussing, what's interesting in the research I was doing is how psychologists refer to a phenomenon called thin slicing, where the brain only needs 2 or 3 points of reference, and then it will create the whole story within your brain. So literally driving into a parking lot and seeing something that's not right.
That's so powerful.
You're going to fill in your brain what you expect to see when you walk through the door.
It's interesting to say this. So my stepfather's long passed. He was a antique car guy, and he would go on these long, like he did Highway 66. And I said, Carl, how do you pick hotels and stuff? I mean, you just drive, you just pick one. He goes, I look at how they keep the parking lot. And if the parking lot isn't kept up, I won't go into it.
There you go.
Because they're just driving down the road, and they're senior citizens. They're driving down the road, and they're like, oh, we might do 200 miles today or 500 miles, whatever it is. Oh, we're not stopping there because there was a piece of trash in the parking lot. Right. Little things make a difference. But I just found that fascinating. It's always, we didn't talk about that for the podcast, but it just jumped in my head that we do it all the time.
Yep. And it's the 3-second test. And it's the first 3 seconds that are the most important. So what we're just talking about are three things or three obstacles that get in your way that you might not really be aware of. But what's the message if you tie all this together? And it's really more the principles of the thin slicing and the unconscious adaptiveness that are getting through to people, and how important it is for us to consciously think about and control that first 3 seconds, that first initial contact, because once that's set in stone, you can get a lot of leeway. But if you don't get past those first 3 seconds, you don't get a chance to recover.
All right, so let's bring it back and be real pragmatic with this. So, I mean, this sounds pretty heavy. We're talking about 3 seconds and Malcolm Gladwin and Blink and all this crazy stuff. And it's like, if you're listening to this, it's like, how in the hell am I going to create something that works with a prospect? Or am I going to just, everything I hand out is going to be repelling them, right?
Right.
But we've, over our course of our careers, have figured this out, and how to we have a process that we put people through that creates a biography.
Well, let's call it the right thing. It's a professional biography introduction tool. So it's a biography.
Look at you just wordsmithing that thing out. It is more than a biography, but
Yeah.
I was trying to make things simple.
Yes.
And you just complicated it again,
See,
my friend.
what we're talking about, words are more important than sentences. That's thin slicing. So we have to use the right words.
You just thin slice me.
I did just thin slice you. Well, you bought lunch, so yeah.
So what we want to do is I know this sounds like very difficult, but we've got a process down that makes it very simple, and we can create that narrative so you'll pass that first 3-second test.
Well, at least give you a higher probability.
Yeah,
you can never be perfect, and when you create a professional introduction, biography introduction tool, you're purposefully thinking about how you want to be perceived by your clients, and just creating that document then allows you to be able to convey it and talk about it later on. But you get the right words down, and you'll be attracting some people, but you'll also be purposefully repelling other clients.
Yeah, deselecting people.
Yes.
Yes. So we have a generating introductory tool, right? Professional biography and introduction tool.
Yes.
We call it a bio generator, so don't thin slice me on that.
I won't.
But if you fill that out, you can hire us. We'll create it. We've even got a printer that will print these things up after you approve them and drop them. And they open up seminars for you. They open up electronically, casual acquaintances. They open up any public speaking that you have. We used them at this conference at the Wigwam in Arizona. They just work. So what are some of the other results that we can, let's share with the audience here before we conclude.
Yep.
What are some of the other results that the professional biography introduction tool can be used?
Okay. So what are the benefits you get from using it?
What's the benefit?
So the first thing is, John was just kind of hitting on some things. Recently, we've had a lot of success with people who are doing seminars, began placing their professional biography introduction tool on the table.
It's a single sheet.
Just a single sheet.
And we usually have your mugshot on there, a description that we carefully craft.
Yes.
And then on the reverse side, we have your process, because you should be selling your process.
That's right.
Above everything else. So that's a front and back. We give it to you so you can run it through your compliance.
Yep.
And as soon as they bless it, you okay it. You mark up anything you don't particularly we didn't get correct, and then we send it to the printer. They, for a very small fee, they send you 500 of them. They drop ship it right to your office. Yeah. It's easy breezy.
Yep. And you need really professional looking pieces, because if you print it off a terrible copier,
you don't print it off in your own copier. If you're going to be a professional, pay to get it printed.
It's part of the 3-second rule. You really need them printed, but
the weight of the paper makes a difference.
It does. And they won't think about it. And you don't think about it. It's an unconscious thought. But anyway, as you look at it, we have the right words blended into this professional biography introduction tool, because the words are important, and we only say as much as needs to be said. You can tell people all about yourself later, but this is just to get them to open their mind and say, hey, I like this person. They're not scary. I think they can help me reach my goals, and they've got a process to do it. And I will now listen, and I want to engage with this person. So when you do it in a seminar, we did one a couple of weeks ago where this person had never used them before, just just to give you an example. And I had him put it out on the table, and there's 50 some people in the room, and they're all reading his professional biography. And normally in these types of seminars, I've seen people are very apprehensive, leaning back. Some of them have their arms crossed. When he started, they were all leaning forward. Not all, but most of them were leaning forward. They were engaged, smiling, and he ended up with almost, I think, a 60% of these people in the room decided to schedule a meeting with him.
Oh, that was that young man that White Glove, right? It was a White Glove seminar.
It was, but I asked him to say his name, but yeah.
Yeah, we can't say the advisor's name.
But it was White Glove, and we're big fans of White Glove. So,
yeah, they did a great job, and their system works. But this is just sort of like the whipped cream and the cherry that just converts and helps tell the story.
So this gets to what are the potential results, and the number one is it shortens the sales cycle.
Definitely agreed.
If someone likes you and they're not apprehensive, think of all the time you just spared. If they just walk in and they're already your friend, they already trust you, and they're already leaning forward, man, that just shortens your sales cycle, in a big way. We got to keep everything compliant and suitable, but you shouldn't have to spend a meeting or two talking about yourself and your business. That can be done before they ever show up with one.
Truly great sales professionals, advisors are focused almost 90% on the prospect or client and what's in it for them, and how that's what this retirement mission book we're going to come out with. Mm-hmm. That's what this is going to do. It focuses on the client and their best day in retirement and all the things that they need to do to think it through.
Yes.
All we want advisors to do is to listen to prospects, because once they listen and they develop that skill with this professional introduction, biography introduction, we get to sort of shorten that step, and it's perfect.
That's a whole nother podcast, is teaching people the process of taking notes and listening.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, that's another gold nugget. We'll talk about that another time. But so this will shorten the sales cycle, and it shows that it also increases your conversion ratio exponentially. I mean, if you get more people to see you and they like you right out of the gate, you're going to end up and they're the right clients.
Would you say, just to clarify, because some people don't do seminars, but if you're doing conversions, you're talking about people that attend that are converting into appointments.
Yes. Okay. Or in any marketing campaign, technically.
Yeah. No. Okay.
I can tell you, I've mentioned this before, but when I meet a prospect for the first time, I will email my professional biography to him and ask him to look at it first, and then call me back if it resonates.
If you would like to be a guest on the C4G podcast, please contact us at info@catalystforgrowth.org or 813-454-0557. Primetime players only. Bring your A game or don't contact us.
All right. What's another thing that this tool helps the advisor do?
Well, it can actually increase attendance at seminars. We've actually had people who they have the list of people coming to their seminars, and they will send the biography out and say, hey, if you know someone else who would like to attend, would you please forward my biography to them and tell them that they can attend with you? So you have
referrals are a fancy name to introductions, and what a great way that you're setting the table of how to be introduced. Because even though if the person, the prospect or client, is an advocate, it would be really a client would be an advocate of yours. Mm-hmm. They don't really understand your qualifications or all of your skill sets and all of the things that you can help in the financial service arena. So don't have somebody introduce you. Don't let them do your job for you. You introduce yourself, and this tool does it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So you're perceived the right way, and you have to control all the negative thoughts that someone generally has, even when they're being introduced to someone by someone that they like and trust. They're still going to think negative of you until you prove that you're not scary. Which comes to the next point. Another thing you get out of it is just people use it for referrals. Literally, while we were sitting here before we started this call, I had a client of mine send my biography to a friend of his who just would be a great prospect for me. While we were sitting here, and scheduled an appointment. This is Wednesday. Scheduled an appointment for Friday at 10:30.
I think that's, I'm going to take a little sidebar here. Just so all the advisors and people listening, both Kevin and I run a book of business. So it's not that we're just doing these services. This is a passion of ours, and this is why we do it, is to help advisors get better, because we've seen in the course of our career a lot of advisors that just weren't that good. And we want to help change public opinion, and we want to raise, a tide raises all ships. So
Yeah.
we're doing the same thing you guys and gals are doing. We're writing tickets. We're working with clients. We get losses. We get wins, and we just want to share that with you. So it's a little different than just a talking head who is, talking about philosophy and theory. This is all tested in the trenches. We've all gotten beat up on this. We've lost business because of it. We've gotten a lot of business because of it, and we've honed it over the years. So I just wanted to jump that in. And
that's really what our not thesis, but our mission statement really is to take what we've learned and give back. That's really what we're doing. So let's talk about the ways people can kind of get introduced to create their own professional biography introduction tool. You want to talk about that? There's really three suggestions that we have. The first is, you can go to our website, catalyst4growth.org, and you can look for the bio generator. Not only is the bio generator there that you can write in and begin to pencil in your thoughts, but the second thing is I've got a video of me doing a Zoom call talking about how important and what you can do and how you build your professional biography. So the video's there. There's a biography generator to begin filling out. And from there, if you really want to, you can create your own biography. The second thing you can do is, I've got a book that I've written on this. You can get the book from our website. It's called Get More Referrals in Less Time, where I talk about each one of the 7 elements that are in a professional biography tool. So if you want to read more about more purposeful, thought process driven building your professional biography, hey, there you go. You can pick up my book and read it. And the third thing is, if you really want to take advantage of our extensive research and knowledge in building these and what the right words are, what correct thin slicing is, how you should put these together, and look at lots of examples. A lot of people call us and want to take advantage of our consulting services to help you rewrite and have a couple consultations as you build yours, and more importantly, customize how you use it for your own business so you can actually get something with it. It's one of these things where people who don't pay for their own professional biography have skin in the game and don't have a consultation where they actually align it to what they're doing and given a plan and a process to implement it. It's funny how often it's not used. But if you do take the third step and you actually consult with
it's like using a one-legged stool. If it hasn't been planned out, it's a one-legged stool. So we need to add the other legs to it so that it's suitable for people to sit on.
Exactly. Yeah. So we offer all three. Hey, if you want to do it yourself, we offer resources for free. If you want to use our consulting services, we're more than happy to help you with that as well.
Yeah. We also have a master class, which is on Thursdays, the third Thursday of every month. The topics have been all broken out for the entire year. That's $99 a month, unless you're working with an IMO that we supports us, or a broker dealer or RIA. We do those free for some of those organizations. It's $99 a month, or $999 for the year. There's content, everything from client acquisition to exiting your business, everything in between. It's a whole year of curriculum. It's taught by Kevin and myself and other subject matter experts. It's a great mentor class. There's interaction, there's accountability. That's available. You go to the website, catalyst4growth.org, and sign up for that. If you want to hire us for a certain individual project, we take projects on. We will do that as well, and then discuss prices. But if you're sitting here and you're trying to find out how to get better, and again, our goal is to get a little bit better every single day. Maybe it's just the width of a hair. But if you're getting better every day, that's what it's about. And those are the people we want to work with. So if you feel like you're stuck or you have an obstacle, set up a consulting call with us. We'll take a half hour or hour. We want to help you. We won't charge you for that. And just so you get to know who we are, and we get to know you and see if there's a relationship. Kevin and I work on 4 business principles, and one, we look if people are aligned with us and we're going in the same direction in life. If they're ethical, right? We don't want to deal with any bad guys out there, bad actors. 3, if it's profitable, right? We've got to help you make money, or there's no value in a masterclass if you're not going to implement it, and we've got to get paid for that. And 4th, and probably foremost at this adventure of our career or back nine of our career is to make sure we're having fun.
No doubt.
I don't want to work with people I don't like, and I don't think people want to work with us if they don't like us. So this isn't rocket science, but we're just laying things out on the table so you get to know who you're doing business with and why you're doing business with us. So go to www.catalyst4growth.org, and you can get all of that information. There's disclosures on there. There's free items. There's a bunch of stuff on there. You can sign up for everything we've talked about today.
There's a lot. There is so much resource on that website that's free and available to people without paying. You'd be silly not to check it out. If you have a need, and like John was saying, if you have a challenge right now, if you have an obstacle that you can't get over and you're trying to figure your way through something, go to the website or just email us. We love a great challenge. Email us at info@catalyst4growth.org. info@catalyst4growth.org. Just send us an email with your toughest challenge and see if we can figure it out for you. We enjoy those conversations a lot.
We love solving puzzles and problems.
Yeah.
Well, again, we appreciate your time today. We know that being an advisor, it's a hectic lifestyle. So hopefully you were on a way to an appointment or de-stressing from the day and listening to us on the way home. And hopefully you've gotten some nuggets that'll make you better. Again, the goal is to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. So we appreciate your time. Stay tuned next week for some new content and some new interviews. Thank you very much.
Have a profitable day, everyone.
Hey, thank you for your time today. We will have another content-packed session posted next week. Please check our website, catalystforgrowth.org, for our legal disclosures on the bottom of our homepage, if you're into that sort of thing.